Hello, hello, and welcome back to the channel. As most of you know, I'm Topher. And for those of you who don't know and just randomly decided to click on my video, welcome to the channel. I'm Topher. Thank you for stopping by. So we're here to do a reaction, and we're getting back into Cherry Magic. We're diving into episode 9, and I am just so excited for this little reaction session. If you follow me on Instagram or Twitter, you would have seen a post that I made yesterday as of recording this video, where I had a very long day at work and it was very, very trying, very, very exhausting, but I came home to a package that made me super duper excited, and it was the first 3 volumes of the Cherry Magic manga translated in English. They only have there's a total of 5 volumes. They only have the first 3 volumes translated in English. I think volume 4 is slated to get released in English in January of 2022, maybe. I think that was the date I saw, and then who knows when volume 5 is going to come out. I don't know, but I was very, very excited. So I binged through the first book last night, and then I read through the second 2 and 3 earlier today. And it's exciting because, like, there's so many, like, subtle little differences between, like, the actual manga, the source material, and how they brought the characters to life on the actual series. And I don't know, I think I might, after I finish watching the series, well, I guess I'd have to finish reading the manga, which means I'm going to have to find an English translation somewhere, which they don't have yet. So I was thinking maybe after I finish watching this series, I could do some sort of video series, like a comparison, differences between the manga and the actual series, and how they chose to just take things and whatnot, because there are some, like, noticeable differences that I noticed reading through the manga, having already watched those series. Thankfully, ending in volume 3 took me just about to, I think, episode 7, so I didn't read ahead. I didn't have any spoilers, although there were some, like, extra scenes that took place in here. Like, there was this whole company field trip scene that happened where there was bath time, and there's a shirtless Kurosawa and a shirtless Adachi, and I'm like, well, where the hell is this scene in the series? Like, I want that scene. So who knows? I know there are 2 special, like, there's a total of 12 episodes in the series, and then there are 2, I think, special episodes that I read on Wikipedia, so that'd make a total of 14 episodes. So I'm hoping maybe one of those special episodes is going to be involved in that whole company trip thing, because I would very much like to see a shirtless Kurosawa and a shirtless Adachi wet in a public bath. Yes, that sounds like a fantastic time. But anyway, we're diving into episode 9. At the end of episode 8, there was Adachi and Kurosawa. They spent the day with Tsuge and trying to help him, you know, get up the courage to talk to Minamoto. Is that his name? Minato. In a romantic sense, instead of just being, you know, scared and fearful, which, you know, relatable. Hello, social anxiety, secret society, like, relatable. So after, you know, they finally left Tsuge, they were just walking home and whatnot, and they were just being cute and adorable, and, you know, just being adorable and giving me all the feels. And then at the end, Tsuge finally got the courage to go talk to Minato. I don't know why I want to add extra syllables to his name. But as soon as he got there and was about to say something, some other person from, I guess, who left his dance troupe or whatever at some point to get a real job, came back and laid a kiss on him, and I was like, okay, drama, I'm here for it. So we're going to dive into episode 9, because I've talked your ear off enough at this point, and we're just going to see what happens. It's not the first kiss I thought I was going to get on this show, but I'll take it. Oh.
柘植正人本日をもって
Go on ahead, Tsuge. Okay. Well, that answers my question. Okay, never mind. So I was writing down my thoughts on this paper for after. Okay, that answers that question. Okay, I love this episode. Another fantastic episode, and what's just a fantastic series. a lot of things to, revisit and unpack. A lot of things happened in this episode. We started off with Adachi and Kurosawa being just the most adorable people on the face of this planet. Like that entire breakfast scene just made me so happy on the inside. Like I was so warm and fuzzy. Just they are so freaking adorable, and it's so nice to see them in that kind of setting. It's nice to see them finally reach that place. Like we've been building up and working towards this point the entire series, so I'm glad to see them just finally be able to be semi-quasi comfortable. Adachi is still, a nervous wreck basket case in his head, which I completely get. I relate to. That's just how we are. But it's nice that he can let himself relax and he can have these moments with Kurosawa where they can just be. They can be comfortable, they can be happy, they can just be. And there are actually a lot of instances throughout this episode, or a lot of like lines or like little things that have happened throughout this episode that like remind me of things that happened when I was reading the manga. But they happened in different ways and at different times. But there were just certain things like the whole Kurosawa taking the picture undercover of Adachi, little scenelet that was happening there. One part where Kurosawa was like, or when they were hugging there in the public setting, and Adachi's like, oh, there's people around, and like just a couple other little instances throughout the episode, like where there are things that like just triggered. Like, hey, that happens to sort of semi-ish in the manga, but not exactly the same. So it just makes me want to finish reading the manga. So I really need translations for volumes 4 and 5 to come out like now. But then also to make that video I was talking about at the top, where it's maybe like a comparison of differences between there, because like there are a lot of similarities, but they seem to be happening in different ways or in different places, and they're bringing the characters from the manga to life in a slightly different way, and they're taking the artistic liberties, which that's just how adaptations are and whatnot. So the core, at its core, it's the same story, but there are these like subtle little differences and things that are popping up that I'm like, okay, that's different. That's different. Oh, well that. So maybe I'll make that video at some point further down the line. But yeah, it was just super cute to see them together in that just fuzzy romantic sense, running around, playing with each other, taking undercover pictures, undercover videos, and just seeing Adachi smile. He Kurosawa's mentioned it in his inner monologue throughout the earlier episodes that, when, sometimes Adachi, he's down on himself, he doesn't really see his worth, blah, 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 blah. But like when he smiles, he's just this bright light. He has this energy, and he's just so adorable, so beautiful. And it's so true. His smile is just so infectious and magnetic and adorable. And you just want to pinch his cheeks and you want to hug him. And he's just so adorable, so endearing. So I love seeing that. Love seeing that side of him. And then we got the sort of office interactions a little bit. People are noticing that Adachi's got, a glow about him. He's got this positive aura about him. So, it's like, ooh, who's he dating, blah, blah, blah. And, people are starting to inquire a little bit. And, Kurosawa's helping him keep it under wraps. I don't know if Kurosawa's necessarily wanting to keep it under wraps, or if he's just doing it for the sake of Adachi, because Adachi is still a nervous wreck and has never done anything with a man. Although, like, reading the manga, like, this is why I was kind of nervous about reading the manga before finishing the show, because like I didn't want to learn too much that I didn't already know. But at the same time, like I couldn't resist reading. So I don't know that it's learning like vital information that I didn't know ahead of time, but like in the manga and reading it earlier today, like I learned that Kurosawa hadn't been with a guy or anything. He'd never seen a guy in that light before Adachi came along that night with the president. trying to make her move on Kurosawa. So it wasn't until that point that he actually started to develop some sort of feelings or see any kind of guy in that light. And that's something I wasn't sure about when I first started the series, whether Kurosawa was always into guys and, you know, he just has this beautiful face and all the girls are all about him, or if it was something that was, you know, new happening because of Adachi. So now I have that clarification in my head. But I lost my train of thought. Yeah, so, you know, he's they're doing, you know, people at work are not trying to, but they're starting to just notice, you know, they're spending time together. They're spending a lot of time together. They come into work together. You know, they're eating the exact same lunch or the same rice ball or whatever it is. And, you know, Kurosawa was just helping Adachi keep things under wraps. So that's where that thought process was going. I wasn't sure if Kurosawa was keeping the relationship under wraps just purely for Adachi to, you know, because Adachi's a nervous basket case, or if Kurosawa also just wasn't ready to go public with the fact that, yes, I have these strong, intense feelings for a man. So I guess we'll just have to wait and see. But like throughout the entire series, Kurosawa's not struck me as a person who's, you know, has reservations about his feelings for Adachi, and he doesn't strike me as the type who would hide it, you know, because he's ashamed of anything or anything like that. So I'm leaning more towards the side that he's, you know, keeping it secret right now, more so for Adachi than it is for himself, but we'll just have to wait and see. But either way, you know, he said they want to try the date thing again, which I misinterpreted the first couple, you know, seconds of that. I thought, for whatever reason in my head, I thought Kurosawa was saying that he wanted to try and date again, which is why he was going to be unavailable, so meaning he wanted to try and date other people or try to date women or something. I was about to freak out. I was about to flip my table over like, listen, you're not about to take me through this whole journey that we've been on so far just so you can go date somebody else. No, I'm sorry, Kurosawa, you are stuck with Adachi. But he was just saying retry their date together because the last time, you know, it kind of got interrupted by Tsuge. So, okay. Yes, at some point they're going to try the date over again, and it'll be super duper cute, and I'll be super duper excited to see what happened. And then the rest of the episode was kind of dedicated to Tsuge and Minato and that whole situation. I'm glad that this other person who came and kissed Minato at the end of the last episode was just some ex or something trying to get back into the picture and wasn't somebody who's currently in the picture. I'm glad that that issue got resolved. I'm glad that Rokaku was such a good friend. It was like, hey, you bring me that four-eyed whatever he said, and you know, we're gonna have a talking to because he hurt my friend, and I'm gonna tell him about himself. So, you know, that's a good friend right there in Rokaku, and I'm just glad that whole scenario took place. And it was nice to see, like, when Rokaku was laying in on Tsuge, like, it was nice to see Adachi stand up and be like, hey, no. Tsuge is like me, where, you know, sometimes we're not always able to be upfront about our feelings, and, you know, we withdraw into our shells and we don't know how to process things sometimes. But he would never avoid someone for that reason. That is the last thing he would ever do. And it was nice to see. It kind of takes me back to when Adachi tried to, you know, stand up for the female coworker when they were out shopping or getting baked goods or something like that. They're at a bakery or whatever, and they ran into those two guys who were being jerks. Another scenario that happens differently in the manga. That, again, I'll just add that to my list of things. But yeah, when he tried to stand up to those guys and whatnot, and it's nice. I've mentioned before, it's nice. And here he wasn't even using his superpowers or his magic powers. I was going to say it's nice seeing him use his powers for good, using his powers to try and help people, stand up for people and whatnot. But here he wasn't even using his powers, he was just speaking from his heart. It was nice to see him get that bravery and those guts to just stand up and be like, hey, no, you're wrong, and you need to, I get that you're protecting your friend, you're protecting your friend's heart, but you need to lay the hell off of my friend, because my friend would not do that, and don't make me cut you. Don't make me cut you, Rokaku. Maybe he didn't say all of that, but it was in his eyes, okay? I felt it in his eyes. And then even, you know, Kurosawa was like, you know, it was really cool to see, you know, Adachi stand up for Tsuge like that. And that's another instance, again, from the manga. Not that exact line, but heard hit the similar commentary that Kurosawa made in the manga, but I think it was in reference to Rokaku and something that Adachi was saying to Rokaku at their slumber party thing that was happening. I don't know. There's... Y'all, go get the manga, okay? Go get the manga and read it, because it is a fascinating read. Like I said, I blew through all 3 volumes within, you know, a day and a half or whatever. And the only reason it took me that long is because I had to sleep. I had to sleep in between volume 1 and 2. But yeah, go if you can, go get them, or if you can find them online, go read them, because they are a great read, and it's just fascinating to dissect and see differences and whatnot, but get some background information that I don't think I've gotten in the show thus far, and I don't know if I'm going to get in the show. So yeah, just go read it if you can. But yeah, I'm glad the whole Tsuge Minamoto thing happened, and you know, we were able to resolve that issue, and they ended up answering one of my questions that I've been posing since the beginning, when we discovered that if you maintain your virginity through the age of 30, you get magic powers. I'm like, well, if you potentially have the sex, after you've got your magic powers, you lose your powers. And then, you know, Tsuge's like, yep, that's not, I lost my powers. I'm like, all right, well, that answers that question. So I guess we are not taking it nearly as slow as Adachi and Kurosawa here. We're just diving straight in. Minato is, he is the expert, and he's like, you know, I'm gonna go gentle, I'm gonna take good care of you, and you know, I'm gonna suck your magic powers right out of you. And that's what happened. So that answers half that question. But one question that was popping up in my head when, I forget what part of it was. Oh, when they were, when Adachi was picturing the first date, when they were walking away from lunch or whatever it was, and he, you know, touched Kurosawa, he's picturing the first date. And I'm like, oh, look at the bow tie, it looks so adorable. And then Adachi started freaking out because Kurosawa's mind went places Kurosawa's mind goes. You know, they were in the robes and they were on the bed, and I started clutching my pearls. I'm like, ooh, praise Jesus, how y'all doing? One thing that popped in my head is like, what happens if and when, because I'm assuming it's going to happen at some point, maybe not in this scheme of the series for what they're going to show us, but at some point I'm assuming that Kurosawa and Adachi are going to have the sexy time. So what happens when they have the sexy party? Like, I can only imagine what's going to go on in Adachi's head, because we already know that Kurosawa he's head over heels gaga, and every time he's around Adachi, his mind wanders to all kinds of places, especially in the manga, child. But I feel like Adachi's head is gonna explode, like with whatever, because Adachi's he's a nervous basket case. So his first time actually getting to have the sexy time, he's gonna be a nervous wreck. His head is gonna be all over the place. So he's gonna have his own emotions to worry about. But then also hearing everything that Kurosawa's thinking at that moment while they're doing all the touching and doing all the other stuff. Like, I feel like Adachi's head is just gonna explode off of his body at that point. And I'm like, Lord Jesus, that poor baby. I feel so bad, but so good, because it's gonna be good. It's gonna be good, y'all. But I feel so bad for him for that particular moment, because I don't want his head to explode and him to have like an aneurysm or something like that, because of all the thoughts that are gonna be swirling around in his head at that particular point. But now I got, you know, at least the confirmation that if they do have the sexy time, that the powers are gone. So then Adachi will be all on his lonesome, and he will just have to navigate this relationship without any kind of secret powers and whatnot. So we'll just have to wait and see how that goes. Another thing that I wrote down, again referencing the manga, I should have just waited until after I watched the series to read the manga, because now I'm going to keep referencing all these random differences that keep happening. But in reading at least the first 3 volumes of the manga, Minato's character, I feel like in the series, what I'm watching here, he got a lot more gentle and a lot sweeter in reference to Suge. A lot quicker in the series than he did in the manga. Like in the manga, he seems like a bit of a jerk for the vast majority of the 3 chapters the three volumes that I've read. It's not till like the end of I think volume 3 when Suge starts like giving him this whole pep talk about not quitting dancing and how you know, he believes in him or something. Not until around that point that Minato stops being a jerk and is a little bit nicer and a little bit more accepting and a little bit more, oh, maybe this guy is okay, maybe this Suge guy is okay. And at that point, that's when Suge actually learns Minato's name. In this series, things are progressed a lot faster for them. They got to a happier place a lot quicker, which I'm happier to see. It makes me a lot happier to see. And yeah, so we've just got to wait and see what the next episode has in store for us. So I'm going to stop babbling all my random scattered thoughts so I can get into the next episode. So I hope you guys enjoyed my random scattered thoughts. I apologize that they were random and scattered, but that is where my brain is right now. So hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share, turn on notifications to be notified when all my shenanigans get posted. If there's anything else you'd like me to react to, be sure to leave it down in the comments. I'll get to it as soon as I possibly can. If you'd like to support the channel in other ways, you're more than welcome to join us over on Patreon. You don't have to, but you're more than welcome to if you want to. And I'll see you guys in my next video. Love ya. And before you guys go, a shout out to my amazing patrons. I can't begin to express how thankful I am for your support. And if you guys would like to join us over on Patreon, the link is down in the description. I love you guys.